65,000 years ago, a group of humans climbed onto a bamboo raft, pushed off from an Indonesian shore, and paddled into open ocean. They couldn't see the other side. Nobody could. No human had ever crossed this stretch of water. No human had ever set foot on the continent waiting on the other side. And what was waiting on the other side had been evolving in total isolation for millions of years. The predators weren't cats or wolves or bears, and they followed none of the rules these people had learned in Africa. Every survival instinct they carried was built for the wrong continent. You think you know what prehistoric Australia looked like. You've heard, everything in Australia wants to kill you. You have no idea how much worse it used to be. Number 1, the crossing. You're standing on a shore in what's now eastern Indonesia. Sea levels are 75 meters lower than today. Australia, New Guinea, and Tasmania are all fused into one massive landmass called Sahul. But there's no land bridge connecting it to Asia. There never was. Between you and that continent is over 100 kilometers of open water. For context, the English Channel is 34. You're about to cross 3 times that distance on a raft made of bamboo, 60,000 years before Egypt exists. And this isn't an accident. Modeling shows the probability of reaching Sahul by random drifting is less than 5%. You chose to do this. You built the raft. You picked the day. A 2025 genetic study analyzing 2,500 mitochondrial genomes, the largest dataset ever assembled for this region, confirmed that humans reached Sahul by at least 2 separate routes, one northern through Sulawesi, one southern through Timor, both deliberate, both planned, the earliest known open ocean voyages in human history, and you're not primitive. At the oldest known site of human habitation in Australia, a rock shelter called Majid Bebe in Arnhem Land, the deepest layer of artifacts dates to 65,000 years ago. Over 10,000 tools and objects, the world's oldest polished stone axes, seed grinding equipment, ochre crayons wrapped in sheets of ground mica to make glittering reflective paint. You brought art supplies. On day 1, you step off the raft onto a beach in northern Sahul. Warm monsoon air, thick eucalyptus woodland pressing close to the shore, vine thickets, the sound of birds you've never heard before, the smell of unfamiliar trees. This is not the red desert you're picturing. 65,000 years ago, Australia was greener, wetter, and richer than anything that exists there today. The interior is a mosaic of grasslands, open savanna, freshwater lakes, and river systems that have long since dried up. But here's the thing that hits you first, before any predator, before any danger. The animals are wrong. Not wrong like a new species, wrong like a new blueprint. Everything here is a marsupial. The young ride in pouches on their mothers' bellies. Things hop instead of run. Nothing here is related to anything you've seen in Africa, in Asia, in any of the islands you crossed to get here. No hominins have ever set foot on this continent. Not Homo erectus, not Neanderthals, not Denisovans. You are the first intelligent eyes to ever look at this place, and this place has been waiting a very long time. Number 2, the watcher in the trees. You're walking through open woodland a few days inland, dappled light through the canopy. You hear something above you, a scraping. You look up. It's about 130 kilograms. Roughly the size of a female African lion. It's crouched on a branch, watching you with forward-facing eyes. Its forelimbs are enormous, disproportionately muscled compared to its hindquarters, and it's gripping the trunk with a single massive hooked claw on each thumb. Retractable, like a cat's, except no marsupial on Earth has retractable claws. This one does. This is Thylacoleo carnifex, the marsupial lion, and everything about it is wrong. It's not related to lions. It's not related to any placental carnivore. Its closest living relatives are koalas and wombats. It descended from herbivores, and then it evolved into the most specialized mammalian predator that ever lived. Pound for pound, it had the strongest bite force of any mammal ever measured, living or extinct. 100-kilogram Thylacoleo bit as hard as a 250-kilogram African lion. Its skull could do this because its brain was unusually small for a predator, which left more bone for jaw muscle attachment. Less thinking, more crushing. Its teeth make no sense if you're used to predators from anywhere else. No canines, none. Instead, its front incisors were enlarged into stabbing weapons, like a rodent's front teeth rebuilt for killing. Its third premolars had evolved into massive shearing blades, like biological bolt cutters. It had almost no molars at all. These teeth could only slice. They couldn't grind. They couldn't crush bone. They were designed for one thing: taking meat off a body as fast as possible. And the killing method. Big cats hold prey with their claws and kill with their bite. Thylacoleo did the opposite. It grabbed you with its jaws, locked on with those stabbing incisors, and then killed with its claws. That single retractable thumb claw on each hand, set on semi-opposable thumbs, would slash or disembowel while the jaws held you still. A killing technique not used by any animal alive today. In Western Australia, paleontologists found thousands of claw marks gouged into the walls of a place called Tight Entrance Cave. Measurement data confirmed they were made by Thylacoleo. Especially juveniles. It used caves as dens to raise its young, and it climbed in and out of those caves on vertical rock walls. In 2008, a rock painting was found in the Kimberley region of northwest Australia, red ochre, depicting a large four-legged animal with disproportionately powerful forelimbs, extended claws shown in detail, pointed ears, a tufted tail, and stripes running from the shoulders to the base of the tail. The anatomy matched Thylacoleo perfectly. But those stripes, you could never have guessed that from bones. Aboriginal people painted this animal because they lived alongside it. They observed it closely enough to record details that fossils can't preserve. A predator descended from plant eaters, related to koalas, with a leopard's climbing ability, the strongest jaws in mammal history, and switchblade thumbs. And it's sitting in a tree, looking down at you. But at least you can avoid the trees. You can't avoid what's next. Number 3. The thing at the waterhole. You need water. You've been walking for days in monsoon heat, and you found a freshwater pool fed by a seasonal creek. There's a sunny patch of flat rock beside it. Warm, still. You kneel down to drink. Coiled on that warm rock, 6 meters long and thick as a human thigh, something has been waiting here since before you arrived. Since before your species existed. Since before the dinosaurs went extinct, its family was already old. Wanambi narracortensis, 5 to 6 meters, 50 to 60 kilograms, bigger than any python alive in Australia today. But it's not a python. It's not related to pythons at all. It belongs to the Madsoidae, a snake family that originated in the Cretaceous period, 100 million years ago. They went extinct everywhere else on Earth 55 million years ago, but Australia was isolated, drifting alone across the Southern Ocean, and on this island continent, the ancient serpents kept evolving. Wanambi is a survivor from a world that ended before mammals ruled anything. It can't unhinge its jaw like modern snakes. Its skull is more rigid, more primitive, but it doesn't need to swallow you whole. It kills by constriction. It wraps around your chest and squeezes until your heart stops, and at 6 meters, it can handle anything roughly human-sized. This is what it does. It lies beside waterholes, soaking up warmth from sun-heated rock, and it waits. Kangaroos come to drink. Wallabies. Anything. Wanambi strikes, wraps, and squeezes. It has been doing this for millions of years. Now here's where things get strange. The name Wanambi comes directly from Aboriginal Dreamtime. It's the word for a giant serpent, often equated with the rainbow serpent, one of the most important figures in Aboriginal Australian spirituality. Aboriginal cultural rules across multiple language groups warn children never to visit waterholes alone. In Western Australia, the sacred sites of the Noongar people's Waggle serpent spirit map geographically onto known Wanambi fossil habitat sites. Some researchers have proposed that these cultural traditions represent genuine ecological memory, 40,000 years of unbroken oral tradition warning about a real animal. If that's true, and this is speculative rather than proven, it would be the longest continuous piece of ecological information in human history. A survival rule passed from parent to child for 2,000 generations because the thing at the waterhole was real. But you can stay away from waterholes. You can be careful about trees. Surely open ground is safe. Number 4. The land croc and the dragon. Open ground is not safe. Quincana, 6 meters long. a crocodile, but not the kind you know. Modern crocs are semi-aquatic ambush predators. They lunge from water. Quincana had long, powerful legs. It chased prey on dry land, at a sprint. And its teeth weren't the blunt, conical grip teeth of a saltwater croc designed to hold and drown. They were serrated blades, built for slicing flesh on contact, like a theropod dinosaurs. Australia already has saltwater crocodiles, the largest living reptile on Earth. Quincana was a croc that evolved to do the same job on land. It survived until roughly 40,000 years ago, overlapping with humans for thousands of years. And then there's the dragon, Megalania varanus priscus, the largest terrestrial lizard known to have existed, and its size is genuinely uncertain because the fossils are frustratingly fragmentary. Estimates range from 4.5 to 7 meters depending on what body proportions you assume. The most widely cited figure is around 5.5 meters, 300 to 600 kilograms, longer than a Toyota Land Cruiser. Its closest living relative is the Komodo dragon, which was confirmed to possess venom glands in 2009. Megalania almost certainly had them too. A single bite would trigger rapid blood pressure collapse, shock, and uncontrollable bleeding. Even if you escaped the initial attack, the venom would finish the job. It was an ambush predator. Monitor lizards accelerate fast, but can't maintain a chase. Megalania would have lurked near game trails and water sources, motionless, tracking prey by tongue flicking, its scales tough as chainmail. And here's a detail that matters. Komodo dragons didn't evolve in Indonesia. Fossil evidence from Queensland shows they evolved in Australia and then spread to their current range. The Komodo dragon is a miniature, island-dwelling echo of something much larger that was waiting in the Australian bush. Megalania fossils are extremely rare compared to Thylacoleo. It may have already been uncommon when humans arrived. Anything beyond that about human encounters with this animal is inference, not direct evidence. But the fossil record is clear about one thing. It existed, it overlapped in time with humans, and nothing in Africa or Asia had prepared those humans for a venomous ambush predator the length of a pickup truck. Trees have Thylacoleo, water has Wonambi, open ground has a sprinting land crocodile and a venomous dragon. There is no safe terrain on this continent, but not everything here is trying to kill you. Some things are worse, some things are just so incomprehensibly large that your brain doesn't know what to do with them. Number 5. The giants. You come over a rise in the savannah and you see them, Diprotodon optatum, the largest marsupial that ever lived, 3 meters long, 1.8 meters tall at the shoulder, 2,800 kilograms. That's heavier than a white rhinoceros, heavier than most cars. It's a wombat, scaled up to the size of an SUV. When its fossils were first discovered in 1830, scientists thought they were looking at a rhinoceros, or an elephant, or a hippopotamus. Nobody imagined a marsupial could be this big. In South Australia, at a remote dry salt lake called Lake Callabonna, paleontologists have documented 646 megafaunal skeletons across 12 species. Complete diprotodon, complete birds, complete kangaroos, all preserved in the mud of a lake that dried up, animals that walked in looking for water and never walked out. Australia's Pompeii, walking among the diprotodon, something that looks almost human, standing upright on 2 legs, 2.5 meters tall, flat face, forward-facing eyes staring right at you with stereoscopic depth perception. For a moment you think it's a person, then you see the single-hoofed toe on each foot, the 2 extra long clawed fingers on each hand, Procoptodon goliah, the largest kangaroo that ever existed, up to 240 kilograms, and it doesn't hop, it's too heavy. Biomechanical analysis of its hip structure and tendons shows it walked upright, like a biped, like you, on hooves. It's pulling down tree branches with those clawed hands, reaching above its head, something modern kangaroos can't do. In the Dreamtime stories of some Aboriginal groups in New South Wales, there are descriptions of large, long-armed, dangerous kangaroos. They remembered this thing. And in the wetlands, something else, standing over 2 meters tall, 250 to 350 kilograms. A flightless bird related to ducks and geese, scaled up to 50 times the weight of a modern goose, Genionis newtoni, the last of the thunderbirds. a family called the Dromonithidae that had been part of Australia's fauna for over 30 million years. For 128 years, no one could find an intact skull. The only one, dug up at Lake Callabonna in 1893 and transported to Adelaide on camelback, had been glued together with flour and water. It was useless. Then in 2024, paleontologists finally pulled complete skulls from the same lake. What they found was a massive beak like a parrot but shaped like a goose's, with a mobile upper jaw, strong bite force, and adaptations for feeding underwater. They nicknamed it the Giga Goose. Here's what matters about Genyornis. There's direct evidence that humans ate its eggs. Over 700 burned eggshell fragments found at roughly 200 sites across Australia. The thermal patterns on the shells match being placed directly on an ember fire. Protein sequencing in 2022 confirmed the shells are Genyornis, not emu. Humans found the nests. They took the melon-sized eggs. They cooked them, and Genyornis couldn't breed fast enough to replace them. A family that had survived 30 million years of evolution, ice ages, and continental drift was wiped out because its eggs tasted good. Within a few thousand years, every single thunderbird was gone. And that's where this story turns. Because this video isn't really about what Australia did to those first humans. It's about what those first humans did to Australia. Number 6, 20,000 years. If humans arrived 65,000 years ago and the megafauna collapsed between 45 and 40,000 years ago, that's 20,000 years of coexistence. Not a blitzkrieg, not an overnight massacre. Something slow, something generational, something the people living through it might not have even noticed. At Thai Entrance Cave in Western Australia, paleontologists uncovered a fossil record spanning over 100,000 years. Through ice age after ice age, the megafauna persisted. The same species, in the same place, surviving every climate cycle the planet threw at them. Then humans show up in the area around 49,000 years ago. Within 10,000 years, every large mammal in the region is gone, except grey kangaroos and thylacines. Everything else, gone. But it wasn't spears that did it. It was fire. Pollen records show that across Australia, nutrient-rich woodland and rainforest converted to fire-adapted scrub. At some sites, this happened within centuries. Eggshell isotopes show monsoon moisture penetrating the interior dropped by half. Charcoal concentrations in sediment layers spiked. The vegetation that supported the megafauna was systematically burned and replaced by something that couldn't feed them. The animals didn't lose a fight. They lost their world. The ecosystem broke from the bottom up. Now, this debate is genuinely unresolved. Climate was also shifting. The planet was cooling toward the last glacial maximum. Aridity was increasing independently of anything humans were doing. Most researchers today think it was some combination of both, and that single-factor explanations don't hold up. This is still an open mystery, not a solved case, but what we know for certain is this. Every Australian land animal heavier than 100 kilograms is now extinct. Every single one. Thylacoleo, Megalania, Quincana, Diprotodon, Procoptodon, Genyornis, Wanambi, all of them. Gone. The continent that greeted those first humans no longer exists. The most dangerous thing that ever set foot on Australia wasn't a marsupial lion with switchblade claws or a venomous lizard the size of a truck. It arrived on a bamboo raft, carrying stone axes and ochre paint, and it's still here.